Let's keep going with this. Now we're on example 3 and we are still simplifying this. So to do so, let's come up here and let's look at this example up here. Notice you got a -1 power there through the parentheses there. So what you can do, the whole thing is to the -1 power. So you could just go ahead and write its inverse of the whole thing. So if I do that, I can flip the 1/4 up at the top, and I can move the 3x to the -5 down here at the bottom. Because what it says there is that everything is to the -1 power, so everything goes to the inverse side, and then becomes to the first power, and anything to the first power is just itself. So I don't need to put that 1 up there anymore since it's just a 1. Alright, so now I've got 1/4, and I can still work with that x. That x to the -5 can now flip up and become x to the 5th. Move it to the inverse side. And now I still got to work with the fraction here. See, we got that double fraction bar? You've got one right here, you got a fraction bar there, and we've got a fraction bar there. We can't leave them both there. So remember, we can change that one. I'm just going to work with the 1/4 divided by the 3. It becomes a multiplication statement, becomes 1/4 times the reciprocal of 3. Remember, this is 3/1. So I can flip that and becomes 1/3. So with multiplication, you can multiply your numerators and multiply your denominators. So really, this simply becomes 1 times x to the 5th all over 12. Or just x to the 5th over 12. Alright, and then letter B there, anything to the 0 power is just 1, so the whole thing there is just a 1. It's not a very good 1. Let's see if I can change that. There. Alright, and then letter C there, we also have the 8 isn't to a power, can't do anything with that. The x to the 0 there is a value of 1. Anything to the 0 power is just 1. And then we got y to the 5th. So 8 times 1 there is just 8. So we just get 8y to the 5th. And we can't simplify that any further. So now this next example here, I'm always looking for a power of a power. If there's anything I can do with that, I might work that through. So that 4 doesn't have a power to it. There's no power of a power with that. I might as well go ahead and bring that x to the 3rd down here because x to the negative. That y to the -2, I might as well bring that down as well. And then notice this next one here, this 8x to the 5th, y to the -4, is all to the -2 power. So what I might do here is I might take everything in there to the 2nd power. So 8 to the 2nd power, x to the 5th to the 2nd is x to the 10th. And then y to the -8. Oops, forgot my negative. And then down here, that denominator there doesn't have a power there on the outside, so the 20 stays here. You got x to the -3. He's going to go up at the top and become x to the 3rd. And that y to the -6 is also going to come up to the top, or up to the numerator up there. So now we just got to keep simplifying some of our stuff, and I'm going to move this down here. Whoops. Maybe we'll just extend this, if that helps. Let's move this down a little bit. There. Alright. So let's keep looking there at the one up there above. So as you're looking at that one, what else can we do? Well, we could go ahead and reduce down that 4/20. If I reduce down that 4/20 there, 4 goes into 4 here once, 4 goes into 20 here 5 times. And then I could also kind of clean up that 8 to the 2nd power there is 64. So let's put down 64 up here. And then down here we've got 5. We can start to clean up our x's up here. Notice we've got this x to the 10th and x to the 3rd there. That's going to give us x to the 13th. Can't combine any x's down here, so I'm going to probably just clean up the numerator, clean up the denominator as much as possible, and then do any subtraction here at the end. Alright, so then that y, the -8, I never moved that, so let's move that as well. So move that down into the denominator. And then I still have y to 6 up here in the numerator. Alright, I can't reduce down that 64/5. I could subtract my, I'll do my x's, let's do my subtractions here at the end. I'm going to combine my y's down there in the denominator. Y the 2nd times y the 8th there, add them together, we get y the 10th. Now let's clean everything up over division. 64/5 can't do anything. X to the 10th, or x to the 3rd, here, I'll rewrite that. X to the 13th divided by x to the 3rd there, you can subtract your powers. We get x to the 10th. Y the 6th and y the 8th. So y the 8th and y the 6th there, you can subtract your powers there because it's over division. There's more of them down here in the denominator, so I'm going to put my y the 2nd down there after I take 8 minus 6 is 2. So can't do anything else. So let's come down here and let's look there at letter B. So letter B there. We could take everything in that first one there to the -1 power if we wanted to. Or we could flip the whole thing. Let's flip the whole thing. So let's bring the whole thing down here. 2x to the 4th, y to the 3rd. Everything comes down here to the 1st power. That 5xy the 4th is not to a power. So we're just going to leave that all up there. That 50x to the 4th, y the 5th up there is to the -2 power, so we can move it to the inverse side and make the whole thing to the 2nd power. So working that one through, we get 5x y to the 4th. And then we've got 50 to the 2nd power. We've got x to the 4th to the 2nd, which becomes x to the 8th. Power to a power, we're going to multiply. Y the 5th to the 2nd becomes y the 10th. And then we got 2x to the 4th, y the 5th. All right? So now let's combine everything up here. 50 to the 2nd there is 2,500 times 5. And then we've got x to the 1st and x to the 8th. You're going to add your powers together. We get x to the 9th. Y to the 4th times y to the 10th there. We add our powers and we get y to the 14th. And then down here, we've got 2x to the 4th, y to the 3rd. All right, so let's keep going. We're getting there. I think I might need some more room here. See if that works. That's better. All right, so 2,502 there. We could even reduce that down if we wanted to. So maybe we should reduce that down. So if we reduce that down, 2 goes into here. 1250. So then we could take 1250 times 5 there, and then we could do a x to the 9th divided by x to the 4th. So let me do 1250 here times 5 is going to give me 6,250. And then I've got this x to the 9th divided by x to the 4th. I'm going to subtract my powers, and I get x to the 5th. And with the y's there, y to the 14th divided by y to the 3rd there, I'm going to go ahead and subtract my powers there, and there's more of them at the top, so my answer is going to stay at the top. Sorry about those bells. Y to the 11th up there. So all we do is we end up getting 6,250 y to the 11th all over x to the 5th. All right. And then I've got a few of them here for you to try. So go ahead and turn the video off and then practice those. All right, so let's go through these. We can reduce down the 15/10ths there. 5 goes into 15 there 3 times. 5 goes into 10 there 2 times. There's no power to a power, so now I can just move things. X to the second is going to stay up there because it's already positive. X to the -4 is going to flip up and become x to the 4th. Y to the -7 is negative, so we're going to flip it down and become y to the 7th. You've already got a y down here. He's not negative, so you're not going to move him. So you get 3 halves. And then at the top there, you can combine those because those are all x's. You can add those together, you get x to 6. Down here, you can add those together and you get y to the 8th. Then letter B here, we've got 3 to the -1 can flip down into the denominator, becomes just 3, or 3 to the first, which is just 3. X to the -4 can flip down and become x to the 4th. Y to the -5 can flip down and become y to the 5th. And then x to the -7, it can flip up and become x to the 7th. Y to the -2 can flip up and become y squared. All right, so you can subtract our powers there for our x's because it's all over division. So 7 minus 4, there's 3. There's more at the top, so you get x to the 3rd at the top. Y to the 2nd divided by y to the 5th, there's more at the top here, so you can subtract those powers. And we're going to get y to the 3rd down here because it's more of them at the bottom. And you can't simplify that any farther, so we're done. Now this one down here has got some power to a power, so you got to be careful with that. 5 doesn't have another power, so 5 is going to stay there. X to the -2 can flip down and become x squared. The y can stay there. This whole thing is to the 2nd power, so I can take everything in there to the 2nd power. So 3 to the 2nd, x to the -2 to the 2nd becomes x to the -4. And then y to the 1st to the 2nd becomes y to the 2nd. All right, and then down here, everything is to the 3rd power. So 2 to the 3rd, x to the -3 to the 3rd there becomes x to the -9, power to a power, and then y to the 3rd. All right, so now I'm just going to move everything where it's supposed to be. So you've got 5, and then 3 squared there is 3 times 3, which is 9, so you got 5 times 9. And then I'm going to move that x to the -4. I'm going to move him down and become x to the 4th. Y to the 1st times y to the 2nd there is going to become y to the 3rd. Up here because it's over multiplication, so I can add the powers. Down here I got 2 to the 3rd, which is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. I've got this x to the 2nd. X to the -9 can flip up and become x to the 9th. And then y to the 3rd is just staying down here. Okay, so now I've got 9 times 5 there is 45. Might as well write my 8 down while I'm at it. All right, we've got x to the 9th. We've got y to the 3rd. When I combine my x's down here, I get x to 6. And we've got y to the 3rd. We can combine our x's now. We've got x to the 9th divided by x to the 6th. We can subtract our powers, and there's more x's at the top, so we're going to have x to the 3rd up here in the numerator. Y to the 3rd divided by y to the 3rd becomes, if you subtract them, you get y to the 0, and y to the 0 is just 1. So there I have it, 45x to the 3rd all over 8. So our learning target was I can simplify expressions with negative exponents. And your assignment is to go ahead and do the 1-3 worksheet on all sides.